Pre-order the consultant next door today with the link below.
The mind is the most powerful tool in your arsenal. I created this podcast as a daily supplement for you to invest into your thinking. This is your
daily mind medicine.
What's up, friends? Hope you're well. Hey, wanted to talk real fast about the power of the right lessons, learning the right lessons from the situations in your life. Yesterday I got home and Kate, my 1-year-old daughter, is eating food, one of her favorite pastimes, eating and sleeping. It's two of her favorite things in the world right now, and I don't blame her. And I just looked over and she, right before my very eyes, takes one giant mouthful of handful of food and puts it in her mouth, doesn't chew it. Then she takes another handful, puts that one in her mouth. And then she takes another handful and puts that one in her mouth. And she's learning at this point, she's learning that if you put too much food in your mouth without chewing or swallowing at the same time, then you can't breathe, and that's bad. And so we're learning the fundamentals. We're learning the basics of life, such as you have to breathe and you have to chew and you have to, eat your food before you keep going. But my wife calls me this morning and she said, Kate had a meltdown. I said, why did she have a meltdown? Well, she put all of this food in her mouth and then she choked and then she was afraid to eat. And so she started crying and wanted out of her chair because she was afraid to eat. And then Lindsay took her out of the chair and then she was crying because she was hungry. And for about 10, 15 minutes, she was just afraid to put food in her mouth because she had choked. And I thought about my entire life in a moment. The amount of times, and I've talked with Chris about this yesterday, the amount of times I've gone through a situation and I have learned the wrong lesson. I have not extracted the right lesson. Like Kate, assuming that choking is because she's eating, rather than realizing that she's not eating the right way. We as humans and entrepreneurs will go through situations and we'll fail to realize that, you starting a business and it not working out, the lesson there is not that you cannot start a business. It's that perhaps it was the wrong time, the wrong industry, you didn't have the right mentors. If you're an entrepreneur and you're learning how to lead people, or a manager learning how to lead people or whatever, and it doesn't work out, it is imperative that you learn the right lessons. And so many times in my life, I've realized that, I learned the wrong lesson from this. I learned this lesson was, I have to go back and unlearn the negative associations I took from this. Talked to a marketing guy on our team, and he said in 2017 he had the best financial year of his life, but he didn't like who he was working with or what he was doing, and he felt empty. And now he's a little bit afraid, to get back to that place where he's earning the income that he says he wants, because he doesn't want to go back to that place. Instead, you have learned the wrong lesson. You've learned that there is a correlation between making a lot of money and being unhappy, but that's not actually the correlation. You got to go back. You have to unlearn that. It's wisdom to take a moment and pause for a moment if you're going through a trial or you're going through a challenging circumstance or a frustrating situation, and make sure that you are learning sound lessons. You're not misunderstanding what the world is trying to teach you. Just because you try something new and it does not work out doesn't mean that you should not try new things. That's an example of learning the wrong lesson. And sometimes we have to go through this. We have to look at hindsight. When you become an adult, you look back at all the things that you did not understand as a child, and you have to have the ability to do that to yourself as a leader, as a thinker, and as a servant of humanity. That's all I got for you today. Make sure you learn the wrong lessons and spend some time uncovering, have I learned the wrong thing here? Where is fear hiding out in my life, in my mind, simply because I did not take heed and pay attention to the negative lessons from my life? All right, guys, see ya.
dailymindmedicine.com.
Pre-order the consultant next door today with the link below.